Konnichiwa. Welcome to Japanese Cooking Ichie. Today, I will introduce how to make ginger pork. Ginger pork is a dish where pork is simmered in a sauce flavored with teriyaki and ginger, and it is beloved by many Japanese people. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. First, let's introduce the ingredients for one serving. 15 grams of ginger, 200 grams of thinly sliced pork loin. It is recommended to use a thin and fatty part of the pork. This time, I have prepared 5 pieces of pork, each weighing about 40 grams. 2 tablespoons of cooking sake, 2 teaspoons of mirin, 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 75 grams of flour. Lastly, 100 grams of cabbage. You can make ginger pork without cabbage, but it tastes great when eaten together, so let's prepare it. Now, let's move on to the preparation of the ingredients. First, let's cut the ginger in half. The reason for splitting the ginger is that it will be used for different purposes. One half will be julienned. Julienning the ginger allows it to release its aroma most effectively, transferring a lovely ginger fragrance to the meat. Next, let's grate the other half. Grating the ginger allows its aroma and flavor to infuse into the sauce as well. This is the most important point for making delicious ginger pork. Next, let's prepare the pork. The thickness of the pork we will use today is 2 millimeters. First, make shallow cuts along the sinew between the lean meat and the fat. Using the tip of the knife, make small cuts into the sinewy parts like this. Cutting the sinew helps prevent the meat from curling up while cooking, allowing for a nicer presentation. Once you finish cutting the sinew, lightly pound the entire piece with the back of the knife, like this. This is also a technique making it less likely to curl and more tender. Please repeat this process for all of the pork slices. Once you have finished scoring the pork, prepare a large pad and arrange the pork pieces so they don't overlap as much as possible. Next, season the pork evenly with salt and pepper. There is no specified amount for the salt and pepper, but since we're aiming for a ginger pork that will be enjoyed with cabbage and rice, the seasoning is a bit stronger than usual. If you prefer a milder flavor, feel free to reduce the amount of salt and pepper a little. Next, let's coat the pork with flour. This step helps to cook the pork more tenderly. Normally, when pork is cooked, moisture tends to escape, causing it to become tough. However, by dusting flour around the pork, the moisture is retained, allowing the meat to remain juicy. Don't forget to coat the underside with flour as well. Once all the preparation for the pork is complete, let's get the cabbage ready for the side dish. First, remove the tough core from the cabbage. Then, julienne the cabbage. In Japan, cabbage is almost always eaten alongside ginger pork. The tender meat and the crunchy texture of the cabbage create a great contrast, and the flavors complement each other perfectly. Julienned cabbage can be kept fresh by soaking it in cold water. To maintain its crisp texture, gently mix the cabbage while allowing air to circulate. This is another tip for keeping the cabbage crunchy. Now, let's start cooking. Set a large frying pan on the stove. Add 1 tablespoon of oil and heat it over medium-high heat. Once the oil is thin and covers the entire surface of the pan like this, it's time to add the pork. To enhance the aroma and texture, make sure to sear the meat thoroughly on all sides until it gets a nice browned crust. For this, adjust the positioning of the pork so that the pieces do not overlap. Thin cuts of meat are more prone to burning, so be sure to check for browning as needed. If it looks like this, it needs a little more time to get a good sear. Once it reaches this level of browning, it's time to flip the pork. Cook the other side until it is nicely browned, just like the first side. Once it has browned, flip it over again. As the pork cooks, some oil will render out. If it's at this level, there's no need to wipe it off. Let's add the seasonings. 2 tablespoons of sake, 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of mirin, 1 teaspoon of sugar. Since the sauce can burn easily, reduce the heat to a lower medium heat. Once you add the seasonings, mix them well with the pork to ensure that the sauce is evenly coated over the meat. After about 1 minute of sauteing, add both the grated ginger and the julienned ginger and mix them in again to ensure they are well incorporated. Be careful not to cook the ginger too long as it can lose its aroma. Saute for about 30 seconds. If you prefer a bit more sauce, You can add the ginger at the same time as the seasonings and shorten the time to reduce the sauce. And that's it. The cooking is complete. Now, let's plate the dish. First, make sure to drain any excess water from the cabbage and arrange it on a plate. To make it visually appealing, it's recommended to pile the cabbage up high. Once you lay the ginger pork on top of the cabbage, your dish is complete. It looks very delicious with its glaze and shine. The spicy aroma of ginger is appetizing. Now, let's give it a taste. Thanks to the flour, the pork is incredibly juicy. It's absolutely delicious. Be sure to give this recipe a try. I hope you are enjoying today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, please let me know. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. ありがとう。